The first step to send in inventory to Amazon is to sign up for a seller account. And this is very easy to do. You'll go to the Amazon seller account page and you'll sign up with all of your information about yourself and about your business. And I have a whole video talking about how to exactly do that, the benefits of doing it early before you even have a product, and all the costs associated with that. I'll link the video up above for you guys, but that is the first step. Once you have a seller account, you of course already have inventory, and this is really important as well so that you know exactly about your product information, and this is what Amazon's going to ask you about if you want to start an inventory shipment to the Amazon warehouses. On the first page of your seller account, you'll want to click inventory. Here you're going to add a product and then follow the steps of adding that product and all the information that you want to send in to the Amazon warehouse. You'll want to manage your inventory and click the replenish button. And right here, it's going to ask again all the information about your product. You're going to choose the carrier, which most commonly it's UPS, and you'll have those labels printed out and add to your product. And you'll send it to the UPS store so that they can send it to Amazon warehouses across the country. A really important note here is that you're going to have to include information such as where this product is being shipped from. A lot of times, and this is what I did with Nino cards, I had it shipped from my hometown, and I included that information there and shipped out the product. A lot of the times, if you have a bigger product or if you're selling really well, you can actually have the address be sent from the manufacturer directly to the Amazon warehouses. So that eliminates you as a step. The reason that I don't do that is because I have all the inventory with me and I want to be able to slowly add inventory as I'm running out. And this is to avoid storage costs. Now, I went over the entire storage cost associated with selling on Amazon FBA, so I'll link that video for you guys up above and at the end of this video. And it's really important to take note of how much you're spending on storage costs. Amazon FBA really charges you quite a bit for the size and the amount of space that your inventory is taking. So that's why I don't do that. But again, if you have a really large order or you don't want to deal with having space to hold your own product and sending it in, it is a lot of extra steps, and yeah, you can avoid that just by having the manufacturer send it directly to Amazon. That's something you'll have to communicate with them, but again, you'll have to enter this information as you're filling out your inventory form. There is a case pack template that you'll have to be aware of as well. And you can auto add these each time that you want to send inventory, but if it's the first time that you're sending in shipment, you want to include the units per box. So if you have a lot of units in your box, then you want to include each individual unit in there so that Amazon knows what they're doing with each item. You want to also include the box dimensions, and you'll want to do this, I think, in inches. I'll double check on that, but I believe it's in inches, so you want to make sure that you have the correct size of your product. This does affect also the cost of shipping that they're going to charge you, so you want to make sure you're really accurate about that. You'll also want to include the box weight, so the overall box, and I don't think you need individual box sizes, like the individual unit. You'll have that just on your Amazon listing, but you have to make sure that you include, again, the correct box weight because you're going to be charged accordingly. You can do this also by yourself if you want to scale it on your own. You can see how much it is and include that. You'll also want to take into account the shipping and the tape and everything associated with wrapping up your box, so make sure you include that in the weight. Next, you want to prep each unit. So Amazon can do this for you. I believe there's a cost associated with that as well. There's always a cost for this extra work that Amazon does at the warehouse. But if your product doesn't need any prep, so if you added your own SKU unit numbers, like the FN SKUs, then you don't need to have Amazon do anything. You can just click on the inventory page that you have already done that. No prep is needed. You'll also want to include information about you as the seller, and again, this form is really simple to ask. You're just going to follow each page and you're just going to include the information that it asks for you. If you try to move on to the next page because you're missing something, they're going to let you know. So it's really, really easy to fill out. And eventually you're going to have a show print page for your box labels. So this is really easy to add. Since I use UPS personally, I know that they give you like a little screen protector to put your label in. You can get just a bunch of those and maybe have it at home so that you can easily add it to the box. So once you're at UPS, you can just send it in. They don't have to really tape it for you. And you also want to make sure you get a receipt so that you can track your inventory in case it ever gets lost. And on your seller account, you'll be able to see how many boxes of units are being received by Amazon. You can see if it's maybe off, perhaps they're missing something, but at least you have a record for your receipt. So it's really important to have. Another screen that will pop up for you is to confirm that you don't have any hazardous products. So this really depends on what your product is. You want to make sure that you follow the Amazon guidelines, and this also is really important for when you're shipping product because they're going to want to check for that. A lot of the times, and you can check with your local UPS store or whatever carrier you use, if they want your boxes to be left open so that they can see inside and make sure that there's nothing hazardous, that's something you maybe want to check the first time that you do it and then see how it goes from there. But this is a screen that you'll have to acknowledge when you're filling out your inventory. Stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to share the 3 biggest mistakes that sellers make when first sending in their shipment for the product, and I'll go over that in just a moment. You'll also have to include the packing type, so this would be individual or case-packed products, and they're going to have a little image on the screen there to show you what that would look like. If you have a pallet, then you select pallet, or if you're sending individual boxes, even if it's 10 or more individual big boxes that you're sending, you'll have to make sure that you let them know that. Make sure to print all of the labels that you need. That includes also the barcode for your actual product. This is where Amazon scans that product and lets Amazon know and the customers know how much of inventory is left. But what I did is that I asked my manufacturer to add that barcode to each of my products during the manufacturing process. I used to individually add each code to my product, and that was such a pain in the butt. So I had the manufacturer do that. I paid an extra $50 for them to add that over to 1,000 units. So it was extremely helpful. And I don't have to print that label each time that I go through the inventory filling out process. I just have to print the box labels. Once you've filled out all the necessary information about your unit, then you are going to see the charge for having this shipment done. And again, you can use UPS or FedEx or whatever carrier that you would like to include, and the cost will vary with each one. But overall, if you choose UPS, for example, it'll show what your overall charge is. Here, you're going to calculate that and accept the charge so that you can move forward and print the label. For those labels, you want to make sure that you cut those out and add it usually to the side of the boxes. And Amazon's pretty particular about this. I used to add the shipping labels on the very top, but it shows on this page that you have to add it to the side. They'll show you how to do it. It's usually 2 labels per box, and it's pretty easy to place on the boxes. On these box labels, it's going to include all the information that you did earlier. So usually the box weight, the dimensions, and all of that good stuff. UPS, for example, will check that over there just to make sure that it aligns. So this is why it's really important to make sure you have the correct weight and dimensions so that UPS doesn't charge you extra if the weight or dimensions are off. They will take a look at that. And that's pretty much it. The final step is just to take it to UPS or whichever carrier and send it off. And again, some of the biggest mistakes that I see that people make, these sellers make when sending in their shipment is 1, not getting a receipt for those printed labels. And this is really important because if Amazon does lose something, you want to make sure that you have a record of your inventory that you sent in. So get that receipt. The second mistake that I see sellers make is sending in a large box, and this is usually over 50 pounds. So unless you have a product that's already pretty large and you already included that on your Amazon seller account, I would recommend staying under 50 pounds. Your charges will be much less, and it can be pretty expensive to send in shipment to Amazon, so just be wary of that. And the third mistake, and probably the biggest mistake that I see sellers make, is that they send in too much inventory to Amazon. Like I mentioned earlier, you're going to be charged for all of the storage that you have at the warehouse. Plus, you'd have to pay a lot of shipping to send in a large bulk of your items to Amazon's warehouse. Just take note of not needing to send too much. You can always check your inventory on your seller account, and I go over how much inventory you should have, what the charges are throughout the year for your units on the storage for Amazon. So I'll link that video here so you guys can check it out. Check it out because it's really important to take note of all these charges and what you can do to optimize and save money on your product for Amazon. So click the video here and I'll catch you in that one.